He had been telling the regional president for 6 months that I was failing compliance. The bank's audit log showed 22 years without a single policy violation. The log was a federally mandated record. He could not delete it. He could only hope I never thought to ask for it. It took me one form to ask. 3 days later, they handed me a 4,000-page PDF. My name is Elaine. I am 52 years old. I have been the branch operations manager at the Maplewood location of Heartland Federal Savings for 22 years. Heartland is a community bank with 31 branches across Indiana and Ohio. The Maplewood branch is the second largest in the network by deposit volume. I have run it through 3 recessions, 2 regulatory cycles, and 1 cybersecurity scare. I am 2 years away from my full pension vesting date. My son graduated from Purdue last spring. I am alone in the house for the first time in 22 years. I plan to work 2 more years and retire at 54. Trevor became my regional vice president 9 months ago. He came over from a large corporate bank in Chicago. He was 42 years old. He talked a lot in meetings about modernization. He told the regional president I was a great person but represented the old way of doing things. I overheard him say this once, walking past a conference room with the door cracked open. Over the spring, he started asking me to forward him copies of override logs from my branch. Override logs are records of any transaction where a teller needs my manager-level approval to process something outside normal parameters. They are routine. Every branch has them. Mine were unremarkable. I forwarded the logs each Friday like he asked. In April, he commissioned an off-cycle compliance audit on my branch. Off-cycle means it was not on the corporate audit schedule. He picked the outside firm himself. The audit took 2 weeks. I cooperated. The team was polite. They left. A month later, I learned from a friend in the regional office that Trevor had been presenting the results of the audit to the regional president in a series of one-on-one meetings. The presentation, according to my friend, described a pattern of compliance failures at my branch over the previous 18 months. Overrides without proper sign-off. Missing audit trails. Policy violations on customer transactions. None of it had happened. I knew none of it had happened because I had personally signed off on every single override at my branch for the last 22 years. I had personally reviewed every audit trail. Our policy violation count was 0. Our customer complaint escalations to the compliance office were 0. Our regulator examination results from the OCC the previous year had been the cleanest in our region. I knew the work I had done. I knew the people I managed. The story Trevor was telling did not match the bank I ran. I considered going to the regional president directly to defend myself. I considered going to HR. I considered telling Trevor I knew what he was doing. I did none of these things. The reason I did not is because of how Trevor had built the narrative. He had spent 6 months feeding the regional president informal observations. By the time the audit results came in, the president was already primed to believe them. If I came in with a defense, I was the person interfering with a compliance review. The audit report was sealed. I could not even see what it said. I could not refute findings I could not read. What I had was every key I had ever turned in the bank systems. Heartland's core banking platform logs every action every employee takes. Every login, every account lookup, every override approval, every signature on a wire transfer, every workflow step. These logs are kept for 7 years by federal regulation. They are mandated under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. They are not deletable by any employee, not even by the regional vice president. Every Heartland employee has the right under bank policy to formally request their own complete user activity log. The right does not require management approval. It is a SOX employee right. It exists because regulators want employees to be able to verify their own compliance records. I filled out the request form on a Wednesday morning. The form is 2 pages. It asks for your employee ID, the date range, and a reason for the request. I wrote, for personal records review. I submitted it through the SOX compliance portal. The portal automatically routes the request to the Chief Compliance Officer's office, not to the regional management chain. 3 business days later, I received a 4,200-page PDF in my secure email inbox. The PDF was my complete user activity log from October 2003 to the present day. 22 years of work. I sat at my dining room table on a Saturday morning, and I read through the summary report attached to the front of the PDF. The summary report aggregated my activity into categories. Override approvals, 9,843 over 22 years. Overrides without matching documentation in the workflow system, 0. Overrides where the matching documentation was missing the required second-level sign-off, 0. Wire transfer approvals, 6,112. Wire transfers without proper customer authentication, 0. Account access reviews, monthly for 22 years, on time, every 1. Policy violations flagged by the compliance system, 0. Customer complaints escalated to the compliance office that named me, 0. The system had been keeping receipts on me for 22 years. The receipts said I had done my job. I did not send the log to the regional president. The regional president was the audience Trevor had been cultivating. If I sent it to the president, I was still relying on the president to choose between Trevor's narrative and my evidence. I needed a reader who reported to a different chain. I sent the log to the Chief Compliance Officer instead. The CCO at Heartland reports directly to the Audit Committee of the Board of Directors. He does not report to the regional management hierarchy. His job is independent oversight. His name is Daniel, and I had only met him twice in 22 years, both at compliance training events. I wrote one sentence in the email. I said, Daniel, for your records, attached is my 22-year SOX user activity log. I understand my branch is currently being reviewed, and I want to ensure my actual compliance history is on file with the appropriate office. Thank you. I sent it on a Tuesday afternoon. I went back to my work. The following Tuesday, Daniel called me. He asked if I could come up to the regional headquarters for a meeting. I drove the 2 hours that afternoon. He met me in a conference room I had never been in. He had a copy of the off-cycle audit report on the table. He had my activity log open on his laptop. He asked me to walk him through several specific transactions that the audit had flagged as violations. We went through them one by one. For each one, the audit report claimed there was no documentation. My activity log showed the documentation. The workflow system showed the documentation. The transaction records showed the documentation. By the end of the third one, I could see that Daniel had already decided something he was not yet ready to say out loud. He thanked me for coming. He told me to drive home carefully. He told me he would be in touch. 2 weeks later, Trevor was placed on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. The off-cycle audit report was formally voided. A new audit was commissioned by Daniel's office directly. My branch was cleared with the same scores we had been receiving for 2 decades. I received a letter from the regional president apologizing for any concern caused. I received an internal email confirming my full pension vesting was protected through my planned retirement date. I received a $50,000 retention bonus I had not asked for. Trevor resigned from Heartland within a month. He took a role at a fintech consulting firm. Here's what I learned. The regulators that I had spent 22 years complaining about, the SOX requirements that I had thought were a burden, The 4,000-page activity logs that I had thought were paranoid overkill. Those systems existed for exactly the moment I needed them. The federal government had been documenting my honest work, against my will, for 2 decades. The day I needed it, the documentation was there. I just had to remember to ask for it. The lesson is not that you should not trust your manager. The lesson is that regulated industries already have a documentation infrastructure designed to protect employees from exactly this kind of attack. The protection has been written into law for years. The system is waiting for the question. You have to be the one who asks.